Hello everyone, this is just an update from me. As part of my breast cancer journey, I wanted to do a video. I actually have a little bit of a drive, so it would be easy just to talk as I'm going through this long drive. And I wanted to provide some more insight. Yesterday I had a visit related to homeopathic opportunities. I don't know how to describe that. And by the way, this video is like extremely raw and real because no makeup, didn't really do my hair. I did take a shower, blow dry my hair, but I just wasn't feeling it today. I had a rough night last night. So I had decided, it was really a couple weeks ago, my mom knows somebody who is a retired RN and has gotten into some more homeopathic path, or looking at different possible solutions from a homeopathic perspective. So I told my mom that I wanted to go and do this test. It's called a bioscan meridian assessment. I believe that's the name of it. I looked it up. And so I went yesterday. I had the afternoon off from work and went for my appointment, and it was probably just under 2 hours that we spent together. And what she did was, and first, just to kind of lay the groundwork, so I told my husband about it like a week ago that I was going to do this, and he just kind of like, whatever. And so he asked me about it the night before, and he's like, so that's like telling me not to take a certain med and taking like a supplement instead. He's like, that's stupid. And I'm like, Tony, I'm not going to, I mean, I know he gives me more credit. I'm not going to just stop taking medication I've been prescribed and start taking something different completely, like overnight. Even when I had to make some decisions with regards to my cancer treatment, I read quite a few research studies and made an intelligent decision based off of that. And I just said, you know, people should really do the same thing when it comes to the homeopathic perspective as well. Look at it, check it out, and see if it, you know, you believe it's for you or not, or try if you want to try it or not. And it doesn't mean that you have to replace everything that you're taking or anything that you're taking. One of the things that I walked away with yesterday is I am continuing to take the prescribed medication I have. There's 3 different things that I have. It's the supplements that I currently take that I am looking at some alternatives in how I take those, or what that means to my body. So kind of back to, I went to do the assessment, and I go in, and I had to take my necklace off and my rings off. And she had me hold it's kind of like a little, it was a metal pole or whatever. She put some water on it, and I had to hold it. There was it almost looked like a scale, almost like a big huge scale that was sitting there. And then things pulled up on the computer, and then she had another device where she would take different points on my hand. She did both hands and then also both of my feet, and she would go to certain points on my hands and my feet, and the computer, the program, would read these to see, I believe, so this is from my perspective, from what I know, from what I learned from yesterday, it's that what was my body deficient in, where was my body, where were some pain points or troubles. So one thing that came up was different things regarded to my endocrine system popped up, things related to my liver. Trying to think, I think those were kind of the biggest. Oh, another thing that came up was several times throughout the assessment, so not just this first part of it, but several times, it starts with a P, but I can't remember how to pronounce it, but it's She said it's right like in the center of your head, in your brain. Starts with a P, and it's related to your sleep. So she could tell that, I had trouble with sleep, and I've had trouble with sleep even before my first surgery in February of this year, but it's gotten worse, and it's continued to get worse with each surgery and different medication and stuff like that. So she did this assessment, and she looked at the results on the screen all together, and I wasn't it was like red, yellow, green, and I wasn't in the red for any spots, which if you're in the red, it's more like you're moving into like the possibility for disease or chronic issues, that kind of thing. There were some areas in yellow, and what was really funny is one area in the yellow was regarding my uterus, and we kind of laughed because I'd given her a little history, just the surgeries I've had, and that was gone in early September, and she said you still have an energy there related to it, but it would be a lot stronger and show up a lot differently. So it basically showed I was deficient because I don't have it. So she's like, I'm not looking at that, but these other things. And we were talking about the potential damage to my liver based on the surgeries I've been through, the different drugs that I've been given. I did not do chemo, I did not do radiation, but there were other things that I've done over time. So Lupron shots to shut down my ovaries. I did that for 4 months. I started in April, so it's been a little over 8 months now? Yeah, 8 months now that I'm on a hormone blocker that is really starting to wreck with my system, with the joint aches and everything like that. I've woken up in the middle of the night with my hands just like a crippling. It hurts really bad. And then my sleep too. I have trouble, even though I take a lot of things to try to help with my sleep. It takes me a long time to fall asleep. It's hard to stay asleep. I know that there's a lot of people in the past that have told me about different breathing exercises, different apps that you can listen to, and things that you can do. And I have tried a lot of things. Everybody's different. Even like for this assessment, what you decide and what comes out, everything's different. One thing that was really, really interesting to me, and I think I had mentioned in a previous video that I started, it was about 2 months ago, to see a therapist just to make sure that I am processing things the right way. I had told the therapist, I said, one fear I have is that I get through it, I do what I got to do, and then I feel like I could hit a brick wall and just fall apart. And we talked about other things that have happened this year and in prior years, and how that wasn't the case, and I didn't fall apart, hit a brick wall, that kind of thing. So she had a lot of confidence that would not happen this time, which I was glad to hear. But I still am trying to be aware of just my feelings and what my body's telling me. And what was really, really interesting is that it showed up on this assessment, I guess in Chinese medicine, when something signals related to your lungs, that can relate to grief. So she was able to look at quite a few things and talk about more specifically like what those things were signaling. So it was just fascinating to learn and to think about that. And I know there's a lot of skeptics, and I still have some of that skeptical piece in me. It's really neat to be able to go through this experience and be able to kind of find out like if there are things that can help me. Like I mentioned earlier, so if you're catching this video later on, I'm not saying that anybody should quit taking the prescribed medication that they have and start taking homeopathic. I think people should be really open to what solutions are out there, what opportunities or possibilities are out there, and for goodness sakes, do your research. There's a risk for everything. So if I didn't do radiation, there was a certain percentage of risk that I would get cancer. if I didn't do chemo, there's a certain percent of risk that I would get cancer again. And you have to weigh those risks, and you have to weigh what's going to happen if you do decide to do certain kind of treatments versus not doing them, the impact on your body and your life versus, if whatever that percentage might be. And in my case, they were very, very low percentages. And I mean, that's just a risk that you take. So some of the things that we did, so what was really neat is after we went through and she did my hands and my feet and kind of figured out, where were some of those concerning points, what she started to do was figure out what types of supplements or medicine does my body like versus what my body does not, like things that don't pair well with my body. So what was really interesting, and I didn't realize this, but I was supposed to bring the medicine that I currently take, supplements, medicine, everything. And I didn't realize that. So she can put these on this, what I call like a scale, and see on there if your body likes that or if it doesn't. So if it helps you to find a balance or not. So what was interesting is I didn't bring those, but she was able to look some up. Fortunately, she wasn't able to look up my hormone blocker, which we think my body doesn't really like. But in my mind, and right now that's a prescribed medication I take, there is a risk, percentage risk to not taking it. And I think that's a little bit higher than the radiation and the chemo percentages that I got. So there is a fear to not take that. I am going to look into some more research about some other alternatives and identify if that is even a possibility that I want to go towards. If it's worth taking that risk to do something different. If I feel based on the research that's done and what I read that it is a very different risk or not. And just that gut instinct I think that you have on what to do going forward. So we were able to see, so one example is, so in 2013 I had half of my thyroid taken out. I had gone to a nurse practitioner at the time. I was so depressed and so tired. And I was talking to the nurse practitioner, and she started to look at my throat and was like, "It seems a little like swollen or something." So she had an ultrasound done. They found cysts all over my thyroid, large and small cysts, and they sent me to an ENT doctor, ear, nose, and throat. Is that right? Yeah, ear, nose, and throat. Went to the doctor. I told him about my family history, and he immediately said, "We're not doing a biopsy at all. We are going straight to surgery." He goes, "We're going to take out half of your thyroid, the half that had the bigger, more concerning cysts. We're going to test it, see if it's cancer, and then we're going to, if it is cancer, we're going to take the rest of your thyroid, and you'll be on Synthroid, and you may have to take other precautions. If it's not cancer, then we're not going to put you on Synthroid, because hopefully the half of your thyroid that's left will overcompensate or compensate for the missing piece and continue to function." What we ended up finding out is that it didn't compensate for the missing half. So a couple of months after that, a couple of painful months, I started to take Synthroid. It's a generic for Synthroid for my thyroid function. So one of the things that we were able to tell is that my body does like, it's levothyroxine. My body does like that. She was able to pull it up on the computer even though I didn't have it on me and test it. And she's like, "Your body does like that." And I said, my fear is I'm not taking enough of it. Like maybe I have to up the prescription or something like that. And so we were looking at iodine, which some people take alongside of, it's a supplement that some people take alongside of their Synthroid or their thyroid medication. And we were looking at, okay, if we added some iodine to what I was doing, like what does that look like? And my body liked that. It looked like it helped to balance some things out. We also looked at my liver and how to do some repair for my liver from what I've been through, and seeing how different products or types of things would be able to help. And it was really interesting because there were things that were way off the scale. No, this is not going to work for you. There were things that were too powerful, not powerful enough, and then things that seemed like they would make a good balance. And the interesting thing too was, so we also looked at some sleep for sleep, so I can hopefully either decrease the melatonin or get rid of it altogether, and get rid of the Tylenol and the Aleve PM that I've been alternating, because those wreak havoc on your liver over time. So we looked at some alternatives, and she put those, and what was interesting by the end of it, I was like, well, try this and that, and so all of these different things, because what you want to see too is not just, okay, how does my body deal with this thyroid medication, but okay, what if I have the thyroid medication and this to help with my sleep and this to help with my liver? Do all of those work together okay, or is something thrown off? And what was really interesting is, so we tested melatonin, and like a smaller dose of melatonin would work. We also tested some other things, but then when she put them all together, it didn't like it. So we took the melatonin off again, and it liked the combination. So we don't know if maybe I would add some, maybe it's a different brand or something of melatonin later. So I came home, I had probably 5 or 6 items with me, and last night I did not take my melatonin last night, and I did not take the Tylenol or Aleve PM. I know that there's going to be a transition between not taking that stuff and starting this other stuff. Indifferent or not. So I started to take some other items, and I was awake until 2 a.m. I tried to turn off the TV and have it silent. Tony woke up twice and asked me why I turned the TV off. It woke him up to have the TV off. I turned the TV down. That helped a little bit more. And I also downloaded an app on my phone that is like, you can play the waves crashing or rain or thunderstorm. It had all different kinds of things on it. Crackling fire, like a bonfire. Tried doing that when I had the TV off, when I had the TV on and turned down, and like none of that worked. One of the things I realized more and more just from that visit yesterday is how much it is really hard to turn my brain off. I know quite a few other people that experience that as well, but just really hard to stop it and to slow it down. So trying to figure out what are some things, and I'm even going to, when I meet with my therapist again, which will be this coming week, I'm going to talk about what are some additional things that I can do to, I guess, calm myself down and kind of slow my brain down so that I'm not thinking of all those things. So one of the questions I did get from this nurse is, she asked me, what do I do to de-stress? And I said, I've gotten way better this year about being okay with laying on the couch and watching TV. So however silly that sounds, I've had trouble in the past being able to do that without either folding laundry or looking at a paper or looking at a book or whatever else, playing on Facebook, whatever else it was. So that is one thing I've tried to do to kind of just relax. I know some people use exercise as a way to relax. Other people, that's a stressor. So I need to figure out what that is for me, and maybe it's a certain type of exercise. So I have looked at my Beachbody On Demand that I have, and I know there's a 3-week yoga retreat, and it's not too yoga-ish, and their trailer for the commercial for it is really funny, because it's talking about what you traditionally think of when you hear yoga, and that is not what this is. So I'm thinking about trying that, and that may help calm me down a bit more, and slow my brain down. because I know it's very healthy and you need that to refuel and recharge, is to have that downtime. So just some things I wanted to share based off of that visit that I had yesterday and some of the things that I learned from that discussion, and some of these things that I'm going to try and see how they work. And we'll try a little bit and go back in 3 or 4 weeks and kind of keep her updated and let her know how things are going. I definitely know there's a transition time, so it's not like she told me it didn't happen overnight, so it's going to take longer than overnight to make some changes. So just wanted to share that, and hopefully people are open with that kind of thinking. And again, like I said in the beginning and in the middle of this, I'm not saying at all to quit any kind of prescribed meds or anything. And in my case, at this point, I'm changing out the supplements that I'm using, and I'm continuing to take, I'm not stopping any of the prescribed medication that I have. I'm going to do my research and look into one of them to see if that might be an opportunity as I move forward. But I think people just need to be open to what's out there and what's possible, and you really need to listen to your body and what your body's telling you. So I had realized based on that, oops, going to the wrong place, sorry. I had realized based on that how much my body has really been through in this past year. And I hear a lot of people, you're strong, and even the nurse was saying, you've handled this very well, but I know my body is telling me that it's in pain and it's grieving. And I was even talking to a friend the other day, and she was like, well, that does make sense. Your body, you've lost parts of your body, not just my breasts, but like even my uterus, my ovaries, like all of those pieces. She's like, of course it makes sense that your body would grieve for that kind of thing, and just overall. So it's all just really, really intriguing to me to learn so much more about all of this stuff. And maybe I'm a nerd, I don't know, but just wanted to share that with you, and interested to hear of other people's experiences going down the homeopathic. And again, everybody is going to have a different experience. It doesn't work the same for everybody. Everybody's body's different. So I hope you are having a great weekend, and I will talk with y'all soon. Bye.